watching the FedEx Orange Bowl on ABC Sports.
All right, off we go to the fourth quarter of the 2006 FedEx Orange Bowl. With Kirk Herbstreit, Aaron Andrews, Mike Tirico in Miami. FSU starts from its own 7, trailing by 1. And no room for a first down run against that stout defensive front led by Tamba Hali, the first team All-American defensive end, as Booker carried there.
Who would have thought the sequence of plays back in the second quarter going back and forth where it looked like Florida State had the possession and missed the extra point, and Penn State right before the half, they get great field position off the punt and then hit a touchdown. They go up by 1, and the way the third quarter went, it almost felt like Florida State might be winning this game, but they're still down a point and now have a long way to go.
2nd and 10, Booker sent airborne as he ran into Hali. Let's go back to that extra point missed by Gary Cismesia, the sophomore. He hadn't missed one in his Florida State career. As a matter of fact, the Noles had made 121 in a row. Snap was good and hold was good. He just had it head up and just spun through it quick and missed it to the left.
Florida State has had the ball in excellent field position, Mike, until in this half, until this drive.
Can't make a big mistake down here if you're Drew Weatherford, the freshman quarterback, who's in trouble. That could be grounding in the end zone. If it is, it's a safety. The flag was thrown. I believe the ball may have been tipped as well. So let's see. A flag in the end zone on the offense is a safety. Would put Penn State up 3. The deflection of the ball might wave off intentional grounding. And that's why the officials are discussing it right now. Safety is called. Wow. And Penn State takes a 16-13 lead. The question will be, did Jim Shaw's hand get a piece of it or not?
Well, Mike, Jim Shaw applied the pressure on Weatherford. But again, 41, Scott Paxson deserves a ton of credit for sniffing out the screen.
Another flag thrown on the sideline. This will be a penalty.
Keep an eye right here. Here you're going to get pressure from the outside. But what I love is the nose guard, Paxson, right away sees Booker, sniffs it out, and it forces Weatherford. He has nowhere to throw the ball. He had to throw it all the way to the outside for the intentional grounding call.
Ball not deflected, as you see, and then if you go at the wider picture, you view are any receivers down here for Florida State in the general area, and it did not look like there were. So 16-13 is the score, and on top of that, the free kick that Florida State's going to send to Penn State will come from farther back after the unsportsmanlike conduct was called on the sideline. Billy Sexton, the assistant coach, whose son Wyatt was the quarterback at the end of last year, contracted Lyme disease, was involved in a couple of incidents until that was properly diagnosed. He'll be back playing for them next year, competing for the job, but he's in there questioning with Bobby what happened.
The way this second half is gone, you knew both offenses are struggling. Which offense could avoid the costly turnover, and which defense could apply the pressure, or could it be special teams? And that's still the case with 13-36. These two offenses are struggling. Which defense, which team special teams can make a difference in this game? This time, Penn State does. Pressure on the outside. But what I love again is Scott Paxson typically applying the pressure, and that time sniffs it out.
There's nobody there.
No.
The back Booker was in. He could have been going out for a screen, but it was 15 yards away from him if you go across the field. The two receivers were downfield. That was an absolutely correct call.
What happened with Weatherford, Mike, is at the last second, he realized that Paxson was sitting right there, and he looked back to his right to see if he had anybody, and by the time he waited to the last second, he just threw it as far as he could out to the left. There's nobody out there, and that's the right call by the official.
Now, because of the unsportsmanlike conduct call, the free kick comes back at the 10-yard line, and they choose to use the kickoff man, Gano, to kind of bounce it through. Works out okay as it comes all the way back, but Justin King, with speed, has it in his hand, and Penn State gets good field position in addition to the 2 points, and another flag comes in here.
These penalties, these personal fouls, are great examples for Pete Carroll and Mac Brown for tomorrow night. The emotions that'll be there and how they need to be able to control their
personal
teams.
Foul on Penn State. Dead ball, personal foul on Florida State. Penalties offset, first down.
He pointed the wrong ways, still offset, it doesn't matter.
We get it. But Mike, tomorrow you're going to have those two teams come out of the tunnels, and they've been building up and waiting for this game. And that's a big part of trying to win a championship and win a bowl game like this, is controlling your emotions and playing with great discipline. It's the one way to get in Joe Paterno's doghouse. Personal fouls, penalties. 7 tonight for Penn State. He might win this game and still be upset because of the penalties.
Michael Robinson without his starting backfield, both injured. Austin Scott has been on 100 yards for the entire quarter and a half here. Yards have been very difficult to come by with these two very good defenses. Penn State limited to 29 yards in the second half. Florida State, 30 yards in the second half.
If Florida State wins this game, either their defense or their special teams going to have to make a play and either score or put them in a position to score.
Second and 11. Robinson goes for the quick pass. Almost intercepted. Smoko kept the ball in the air and nearly handed it to Tony Carter. Robinson's getting a post-pass beating. He's been on the deck the last 7 times he's tried to throw.
I don't think we've seen Michael Robinson tonight have a chance to settle his feet one time, even when he's on the move, just to be able to throw the ball one time without that happening. The entire night, Florida State's linebackers and defensive line have been in his face, and hit such a big part of his game is scrambling and picking up big yards with his feet. He's not been able to do that tonight.
And that's the offensive MVP of the Big Ten. 5 rush, the blitz gets there late. The pass complete to Norwood, first down at the 26. What a job by Jordan to hang on as Buster Davis took the shot at dirtying the uniform of Robinson. Gain of 21.
Finally, we get to see one of the freshmen get a chance to make a play, but first, give credit to Michael Robinson for sitting in there. He knows that Davis is coming in, and he's able to sit in there, wait to the last possible second, and put the ball where it has to be.
Florida State's getting dangerously close to a late hit. They're taking him down every time, about a half second within a flag. Will they go for it all here? Throw is caught. Carter trying to jump the route. They go right back to Jordan Norwood for the catch.
That last hit you saw on Davis didn't necessarily look like a big hit, Mike, but it's just the toll. It's like being in the 14th round or the 15th round, and you continue to get hit. Sometimes the smallest hits hurt you the most. Very, very close there. Tony Carter jumped the route, but Norwood coming back to the ball picks up some valuable yards, and Penn State getting into the red zone. See if they can come up with some points on this drive.
Deion Butler's caught only 1 ball tonight, set a freshman record with 36 catches. Robinson throws high for Kilmer, and it's incomplete. Talk about all the youth on Penn State in terms of the wide receivers. Freshmen were responsible for 61% of the yards this year, 12 of the 17 touchdowns. Justin King, Jordan Norwood, Deion Butler, Lydell Sargent, a couple of grabs, and Derek Williams, the star of the freshman class with a broken arm. He's been out since midseason. He caught 22 in the first half of the season for Penn State.
The way Florida State's playing offense, they have to get a stop here.
Third down, option into the boundary. Robinson keeps going and gets right to the first down line. Freshman Gino Hayes was dragged that extra yard by the 5th-year senior. A little bit stronger, a little bit tougher. Might have gotten the first down.
Gives you a great idea of Michael Robinson's speed and then his power. dragging Hayes about 4 yards after the initial contact. Right there's the contact. Look at the leg drive there and determination to pick up the first down, at least close to a first down.
I think he's got it. You can never say what if, but Gino Hayes is on the field a little bit more because A.J. Nicholson was suspended, sent back home. That's an all-conference performer, top tackler on your team who would have been playing that spot. Got it, first down.
For a guy that's been beaten up all night, it's a heck of a play by Michael Robinson.
Michael Robinson, he's been beaten up emotionally his whole career. Are you a running back? Are you a quarterback? Are you a wide receiver? Bounced around by position, unsettled until the day after last season when Joe Paterno said, you get yourself ready to be the quarterback. He had the leadership qualities. The passing wasn't there as much. The athletic ability was. But Joe said, you're the guy. And he has certainly grown into the role. Hand off to the up back Austin Scott. He gained about 3 to the 13-yard line. And the clock will tumble under 11 minutes left in regulation.
Probably their best running play is when Austin Scott lines up for the fullback, and it's just a quick hitter. And the reason they're doing that is Florida State is getting up the field so fast that it's just a quick little trap, and they're trying to get the speed of Scott right in there. He almost hit that for a big gain, but at least it's positive yards for Penn State.
And how many times did we see them line up in that formation and get it to King or Williams or Norwood, who's back there now? Robinson engulfed, but gets out of it. Lost his helmet too. Dangerous shot as he comes down to the 12-yard line. Wow. As soon as the ball carrier's helmet comes off, the play is immediately dead at that spot. So although he may have reached the 12, they're going to move the spot back a bit to the 13.
Keep in mind the pounding that he's already taken tonight. I think even the first hit, where it looked like he was going down, was just as big as the second hit.
And Ernie Sims is there in the hit. His helmet comes off as well.
First hit. Right there, he gets hit, but he keeps going. Boom! Oh, man. Boys are hitting out there tonight.
Penalty flag comes down. Florida State is going to get a substitution infraction, I believe. The Noles, I think, broke the huddle with 12.
Legal substitution on the defense. Number 44. 5-yard penalty, remains third down.
Yeah, but instead of third and about 6, it's third and a yard or so.
Costly penalties at big moments in this game have haunted this Florida State team. Mainly on offense, but at times we've seen it tonight on the defense.
Florida State penalized 10 times for 94 yards, and at least 3 other flags were declined by Penn State.
Let's watch the battle in the trenches here.
Third and a yard. Austin Scott pushing forward and enough of a surge to get the first down at the 5. After missing 10 straight third downs, they've had third and shorter and converted their last 3.
And the last 2 third downs, what we've seen is a determined football team. Great individual effort on the first one by Michael Robinson, where he's able to carry Gino Hayes across for a first down. And then this time, Austin Scott got hit. A safety came up for the second hit. He fought through and picked up another Nittany Lion first down.
Matt Hahn, that sophomore, comes in there. They're all tightly bunched for first and goal. Robinson lost the football. Look at the hitting there. Florida State has recovered. The first sustained drive of the second half turns into a turnover. The exchange between the center, E.Z. Smith, and Robinson is not there, and the Noles escape. Florida State trails by 3. Still in. Very little scoring here in this second half. Only a safety as Drew Weatherford was called for intentional grounding in the end zone. Michael Robinson and Penn State, a touchdown would have put them in such good position. Florida State hasn't moved it at all in this half. But a fumble on the exchange. They get back on the field on offense. Leon Washington goes forward. Maybe 2 yards. Let's go back to the fumble as a quarterback. Show me what you see here, Kirk. E.Z. Smith getting yelled at.
Well, I saw E.Z. Smith running off the field, kind of looking at his hand and shaking it, almost as if it was maybe a wet hand. And looking there, it didn't even look like the ball gets up from the center to Michael Robinson. I thought Michael Robinson had his hand on it there, but Moffitt pulls it away from him. Right there, you can see that the ball never got up to Michael Robinson. E.Z. Smith still looking at that right hand, thinking, man, wow, crucial turnover.
From the 7, Drew Weatherford, quick screen to Leon Washington, who was in to get an IV because of the cramping. Back on the field, gets a first down at the 17. Also got a good downfield block from his tight end, Donnie Carter. That is the first Noles first down in 23 minutes. And the one thing Florida State cannot afford, an injury to an offensive lineman, they are dealing with here as Ron Lunford is slow to get up.
Said at the beginning of the game, they have 6 healthy offensive linemen that they feel that they can compete with tonight. It's nice to see Leon Washington back on the field because he is such a strong runner. Lorenzo Booker had the big play earlier. He's a fast, has great acceleration, but Leon Washington, nice change of pace with his strength running and breaking tackles.
You can see Lunford, he's battled through his knee injuries during the year. Speaking of the offensive front injuries, Corey Nimlock would have been the starting left tackle, tore a ligament in his knee against North Carolina State. John Frady and Matt Meinrod as well. 3 guys who would be playing out of there for the season.
2 starters and one of the first replacements to go in. So really 3 starters out of this offensive line the last 3 or 4 games.
That's why they've only run it tonight for 24 yards. To the tight end, Matt Henshaw at the 20-yard line. Gain of a couple. Time now for our Tostitos game summary as we get to the halfway point of the 4th quarter. 3-point game. Penn State with that fumble. It's been Austin Scott over 100 yards. By virtue of the Tony Hunt injury, the 1,000-yard runner was injured on the first drive. Meantime, FSU has been struggling on offense. 48 plays, 190 yards. Willie Reed almost has as many punt return yards as the Noles have on offense tonight. 2nd and 7. Press coverage on the receivers. Weatherford running for any space to throw. Incomplete behind Booker as Halid charges in from the end.
Starting to see the speed of Halid get the best of Overmeyer. One-on-one, he's going to win that matchup, especially the conditioning factor getting late into this football game. The most impressive thing that I've seen from Penn State's defense throughout this year, Mike, is the versatility. They don't always have to go to nickel versus 3 and 4 wide receiver sets because of their 3 linebackers. It gives them that ability to defend the run and also the pass. That time, Halid too strong for Overmeyer.
3rd and 7. Weatherford has no pocket, nobody open. They're making this one up, and it's caught by Chris Davis. Brought down by Lowry at the 41-yard line. Gain of 39.
As a young quarterback, Mike, I think he is so aware of Halid that he's even moving and rolling to the right before he has to.
Sideline warning, Penn State. That's her first.
He realizes he has a clock going off in his head, and he knows that eventually Ali's going to get in, but he helps Tamba Halid because Overmeyer's in decent position with the spin move. When he rolls to the right, it allows Ali to actually chase him down, but a nice job by Chris Davis. The scramble drill gets away from Lowry, and Weatherford with vision downfield, puts the ball where he has to. Nice completion and a big change of field possession here for Florida State.
Weatherford, three-step quick hit off the hands of Posluszny. The All-America had a ton of room to run ahead of him. And a great opportunity for a touchdown.
Here's the instinct from Paul Posluszny. Looking into the eyes, seeing the three-step, the quick game. As soon as he recognizes three-step drop, Mike, his head, he's looking for the quick slant. He's checking to see who's coming to the inside. And by doing that, he got his hands up. All he has to do is make the catch, and he might be in the end zone.
Now you see why he's the best linebacker out of Hopewell High School in Aliquippa, Pennsylvania. That produced a pretty darn good running back in Tony Dorsett as well. A great Pennsylvania city where Joe Montana and Mike Ditka grew up as well. Posluszny's bringing pressure now. Weatherford got it complete to Jacody Fagg, who lost his footing, brought down at the 37. Posluszny holding his right knee. Oh, gosh. Oh, man. Lorenzo Booker blocked him as he was coming in on the blitz. And the Butkus Award winner, best linebacker in the country, is down. That's what they teach you to do as a running back when the blitz is coming. You can only hope that it's not a serious injury on the knee of Posluszny. We'll step out for a minute. Be right back. Coming off the field, put no weight on that right leg. He was holding his knee as soon as he went down. And they're looking at him over on the Penn State side. Certainly check him out. Junior, another year of eligibility, was thinking about going to the NFL. Likely first-round pick. Back to the play. 3rd and 7. This pass is caught inbounds. First down, Willie Reed at the 25-yard line. A gain of 13, and Florida State keeps this drive alive, and the Noles have a player who's shaken up on the far side. Chris Davis is hurt.
What a throw here, Mike, by Drew Weatherford. Knows right away. Man under, something that Penn State has not shown a lot of all year. Man under, a safety against Willie Reed. That is a matchup that Drew Weatherford will want every single time.
The heart and soul of this Penn State defense. The 12th first-team All-American, called by the great Jack Ham, the best linebacker at Penn State, taken off on a cart with that knee injury. Timeout for the FSU injury. Chris Davis was helped off the field for Florida State. While we were away, they looked at the catch made by Willie Reed. And it was a catch, so it's a first down. That's Sean Lee out of Pittsburgh's Upper St. Clair. Freshman, true freshman, who made his debut against Ohio State. He has come in to that linebacker spot where Paul Posluszny was, injured 2 snaps ago. Remember, this Florida State drive started back at their own 5. Working towards 6 minutes left in field goal range, down 3. Leon Washington, the senior, for the edge. Flag down as he's down at the 21. This one likely to come back.
Hold there on Tamba Hali by Overmeyer. It's become an interesting matchup on this drive. Mike, you talked about this drive starting in their own 5. Their first 5 drives in this half have all been 3-and-outs. Now they're working on their 8th play.
Number 79. 10-yard penalty from the previous line of scrimmage. Repeat first down.
Aaron Andrews for an update.
Mike, Penn State obviously is giving us no information on Paul Posluszny, but we do have our very own Dr. Jerry Punch here, who's working as sideline reporter for ESPN Radio. He's also a trauma specialist. I did talk to Dr. Jerry Punch, what he observed. He said normally when it looks like a ligament tear, they'll bring the player over and do some tests. Well, obviously they didn't do that with Paul. They put him right on the cart and took him in. Now, Dr. Punch did say he's wondering about a knee hyperextension, and sometimes when that happens, there's also a leg fracture. So he's assuming they're probably taking him back for x-rays, guys. And
an NFL facility, Aaron, so the x-rays are as good as it gets. Thank you, Doc Punch. From the 34, Weatherford has Washington, the running back. Hali is chasing from the defensive line. Play up from Donnie Johnson, the nickelback, and get some of that yardage back. It's 2nd down. Gotta start thinking, not many possessions left in this game. We are approaching 5 minutes, fourth quarter.
Every yard at this point counts, Mike. Of course, if they can get a touchdown, Bobby Bowden's going to keep attacking and trying to get that. But just to get into field goal range, to give themselves a chance at tying the game here late in the football game. But you cannot continue to have the penalties and the little things that push you back.
Florida State's had 11 flags tonight. 3 others declined. 2nd and 15. Penn State brings an extra body. Weatherford, the freshman, is hit as he threw, and it's incomplete. Matthew Rice. You know, all these guys along the defensive front take home hardware for the Big Ten. Rice's second team in the conference, along with Alford, Scott Paxton, and Holly, are first teamers in the league.
Great call this time by Tom Bradley. They've been getting a lot of pressure with 4, and that time you saw the 2 defensive ends get in, but they also brought an additional linebacker, one of the few blitzes that we've seen here in the second half because they haven't had to. Nice change up there by Tom Bradley.
Willie Reed, the receiver's coming on the field late. He didn't know the play, was just told it by Dakota Fagg. Reed is in the slot at the top of your screen. From here, a field goal is 46, so just some yards would be smart.
They want the middle of the field, Mike.
They lost 1 with Leon Washington. Now the field goal attempt for Cismesia is 47 yards. So wouldn't it figure that Bobby Bowden, as Craig James was alluding to at halftime, involved in so many close games, missed extra point, and now a field goal opportunity factoring into this one. There is Cismesia, the sophomore, 5 of 7 from this distance this year. Hooking left, but hooking in to tie the game at 16.
Give Leon Washington an assist, Mike, because he had instructions to get back to the middle of the field. Forget about getting upfield, get to the middle, just enough for the field goal.
As the clock strikes midnight in Miami. You know, these guys are old enough. They can stay up past their bedtime. All tied at 16. Midnight in Miami with Aaron Andrews and Kirk Herbstreit, Mike Tirico, all tied at 16. This matchup of the 2 winningest coaches in the history of major college football. John Gallardi at St. John's in Minnesota and Eddie Robinson at Grambling for many years. They had more wins in lower divisions. At Division 1A, nobody's won more than Joe Paterno, then Bobby Bowden, passing him 2 years after Joe set the record in October of 2001. Coming into tonight, Bowden has 359, Paterno 353 wins. Together, including tonight, they've coached 946 games. 7 of those games have been ties. We'll have no ties, as you know. Overtime's been in for some half-decade now. We play through to a winner. Perfect kickoff by Gano, unreturnable, and a touchback. Take over at the 20. Kirk, you saw a small thing that made a big difference on the field goal.
It is a small thing, but on the right hash, I think Leon Washington purposely is forcing out, look out all the way to the left, and then cuts back to the right just to get the ball to the middle of the field. He lost a yard, but he got it to the middle of the field, and look how close this field goal comes to missing and hooking it to the left. Great play there by Washington to get to the middle and to set up the game-tying field goal.
Remember that long drive, the only sustained drive of this half for FSU, started with the fumble on the exchange from center E.Z. Smith and quarterback Michael Robinson. From the 20, Robinson flushed, stopped on a dime, threw in traffic for Smoko. You never throw back across your body. Did he get rough this time? Flag is down.
Roughing the quarterback. On the defense. Number 95. Threw him to the ground. 15-yard penalty from the previous line of scrimmage. Automatic. First down.
Hammer and Wembley. What did we say last series? They were within a half second of getting a flag. Every hit. Finally got one. Meantime, Paul Puslesny, the Penn State linebacker, injured with crutches for one of the administrative assistants or student trainers up front. He wants to come back out and watch the end of this after the x-rays were taken back there. with that right knee iced or bandaged at this point.
Thoughts are with Paul Posluszny. Hope that he is going to be okay. Not a surprise that he wants to come back out here and finish this season in uniform with his teammates.
1st and 10 after the 15-yard flag. Robinson throws to Ethan Kilmer. Gain of 4, 2nd and 6 ahead. 4 minutes left.
Whether Michael Robinson ends up being the winning quarterback tonight, there's not going to be a whole lot of celebrating. He's going to need an ice tub. He has been hit, whether it's been within the whistle or after the whistle. This time it was after the whistle. Look at his body. I mean, he goes limp. Wembley throws him down late.
Yeah, you heard the referee, Jerry McGinn, say it was the throwdown, not the late hit, that caused the flag. And the moving by Florida State's defense caused motion by Penn State and a 5-yard flag.
But snap. False start on the offense. Number 43. 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
Ethan Kilmer, the receiver, flinched. Here are our FedEx air and ground stats tonight. By air, more Florida State, 227 to 164. By ground, and not so much with Florida State. 20 rushes, 23 yards. Penn State, 36 for 131 without their 1,000-yard back Tony Hunt, who hurt his ankle in the first. 3 minutes remaining in regulation. Robinson fumbles the shotgun snap. No room, no receiver. No play. Lawrence Timmons, the sophomore, who did a great job of rushing the passer in the loss to Florida, the win over Virginia Tech. 4th Noles sack of the night.
As we've seen tonight, the timing gets disrupted by the snap, but look at the coverage downfield. Even if he had time, where's he going to go with the football? Not only the coverage, but look how much work, again, number 12 has to put in every single time, running for his life. This time, they catch him and bring him down for the sack.
Florida State has defensive confusion right now. They have 9 guys on the field, and they have to take a timeout. They have 2 remaining. They didn't have 10. They had 9 players on the field. The first time Joe Paterno played in the Orange Bowl back in the late 60s. At the end of the game, Pepper Rogers had 12 players on the field in that 1969 Orange Bowl that Kansas was eventually beaten by Joe.
ABC Sports coverage of the FedEx Orange Bowl continues.
Each team 2 timeouts remaining. We'll come back for 3rd and 14. All tied at 16. It's 2006 FedEx Orange Bowl. 3 receivers for Michael Robinson. Florida State backing into coverage. They only rush 4. Robinson has a lane and he throws to Smoko for a 1st down. So the tight end who caught the 4th and 15 against Northwestern, a difference-making end-of-the-game drive that defined their season, catches 3rd and 14 for 20 yards.
Well, 3rd and long. It's one-on-one matchup here with a big tight end at 6'5", going against the undersized Kyler Hall. Kyler Hall's had a great night tonight, but in coverage on 3rd and long, Michael Robinson able to take
Florida
advantage.
State confused. Norwood behind the secondary. He's at the 15, down to the 11-yard line. Florida State got caught exchanging personnel. Norwood takes it down the field.
Great job with a hurry up here by Galen Hall and Michael Robinson. They caught everybody off guard. Florida State's looking around. They're lucky that they were able to catch up to Norwood. Look at the Florida State defense running on and off the field, trying to substitute. A couple guys lucky to get off the field, but nobody is in position to make a play. A lot of confusion. Buster Davis, a linebacker on Jordan Norwood, could not make the play.
Each team 2 timeouts as we spin down to 100 seconds left. Norwood comes to the sideline. All they need is a field goal to take the lead. Austin Scott stopped up. Nowhere to go. Florida State should think about a timeout here, and they're going to take one with 1:27 left. And the Noles had to burn a timeout, so 2 in 3 snaps. Substitution issues. 9 people on the field the first time, And there's Kevin Steele, a very good coach, who said, we messed it up. It's not the kids' fault. We made the mistake. 9 guys on the field, and then as Penn State went to the quick no huddle, getting the wrong personnel out there or not enough, gets Penn State in a position where they can win the game.
Something they have not shown, Mike, the entire game. Great time to show the hurry up there. Obviously, not only with the time, but after a first down, you would think they would sit back and wait. Right. After the first down, they hurried it, and that's what caught the coaches off base.
That's time for our Chrysler passing playbook. As all those players go visit the Eastern Luzny. This play a moment ago.
Well, this is a team that has had to try to look for the fewest opportunities that they have seen all year long. But seeing Buster Davis as a middle linebacker, confused, looking around, trying to match up one-on-one with Jordan Norwood. There's a matchup to Michael Robinson. His eyes probably lit up when he saw that, made the throw. And let's not forget, let's keep this in perspective. This is a Penn State team that has struggled these last 2 years. This is a 13 fifth-year seniors in the starting 22. Very determined football team throughout the year, and they've been pushed by Florida State, and they have fought back tonight.
With 2nd down and 12, Florida State can stop it one more time. In motion is Hahn, the fullback. Running is Austin Scott. Good play in the backfield by Broderick Bunkley. Took Austin out of his shoe. Timeout called by Florida State. It's last one here with 1:22 to go. Kirk, you talked about those 13 fifth-year seniors over on the Penn State side. 7 wins in a 2-year stretch, led by a junior Pusluzny. But those other players, great team leadership from this group. And really, they wanted to bear part of the responsibility for bringing Joe Paterno back up. As much as they love Penn State, and as you said in the first half so well, they didn't come to be a part of 3- and 4-win seasons. They came to be a part of the man who was the winningest coach in the sport until a couple of years ago. They have a great internal pride in restoring some of the pride to Penn State football.
Imagine coming to Penn State, thinking about winning Big Ten championships and playing for the legendary Joe Paterno, and having to go through a 3-win season, a 4-win season. You go home for the holidays. What's wrong? What happened to you guys? You go to class. You're embarrassed. They had to live with that every single day. And that's what fueled their fire in the offseason leading into this year. They had the magic throughout the year. They've been pushed this game. They've shown great determination. But the team on the other sideline also, Mike, 3 losses late in the year, showed character themselves in the ACC title. And again tonight, 2 great teams playing with everything they have down to the final minute of the game.
Florida State cannot stop it. You would expect Penn State to run it, keep it in the middle. Robinson is just going to go forward to the 12-yard line. Didn't even bother with an exchange there. So they'll probably run the clock down, and it's kind of fitting. Kirk talked about the 13 50-year seniors. You've had so many freshmen contribute for Penn State, really an infusion of talent on this team, and a freshman kicker comes on for the biggest kick of the season. Kevin Kelly. They'll have an attempt here from the middle of the field, about 29 yards out. They're going to let the play clock run all the way down to siphon the time as we're down to 40 seconds left, and then take a timeout. The timeout with 35 left, and the field goal attempt coming.
What a great bowl season.
I was just thinking the same thing right before that snap. It's been a good game since that. We all gathered and watched, ordered room service, and had a terrific time watching the wonderful game between Georgia and West Virginia in the Nokia Sugar Bowl. As they came back from 28-0, almost get back. You felt as you watched that game, much like this game, that the team that was losing was actually ahead. West Virginia maintained and held them off. And tomorrow night, the ultimate game of the season, one of the most anticipated matchups in recent memory. USC has won 34 in a row, Texas 17. The Rose Bowl game presented by Citi. Our coverage begins at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Keith Jackson and Dan Fouts tomorrow night. And Bowden watching in the stand.
Of course, College Game Day 7 to 8 on ESPN. Myself and Chris and Lee will break down that game and have some fun with that Rose Bowl.
All right, here we go. Kevin Kelly, the freshman, officially a 29-yard attempt. His first of the game. The lefty for the lead. He missed it to the left.
Can I say it?
Wide left?
Wide left.
Yeah,
but the other side. And Ham Bowden said wide left for the first time, goes the other way. Woo!
Florida State out of timeouts. They take over at their own 20.
Shake it off.
Because you're probably going to need
it. You're going to need him in overtime.
Not the greatest hold. The exchange as it came back, it got there, but it didn't look good to the kicker as he's coming in. And he just blew it to the left.
Knowles say, let's go to overtime.
Kevin Kelly, who has gone to records like Craig Fayak back in the 1990 season. He was the freshman kicker for Penn State. First one to be a freshman and kick for the Nittany Lions in a decade and a half. Missed that one to the left. And we will go to overtime.
Remember that look, Mike, because he could have a chance to win the game for Penn State and have a completely different look on his face if he's able to win this Orange Bowl for the Lions.
So the bowl season that has given us great comebacks, wonderful finishes, dramatic action, now gives us overtime. The 29-yard chip shot from the lefty, no good, and the game goes on. All tied at 16. Paterno and Bowden, the two winningest coaches in major college football, go on. ABC Sports presentation of the FedEx Orange Bowl will continue after this message and a word from your ABC station. Back here for overtime. That's Clint Purvis, the team chaplain. A moment with Drew Weatherford. Quarterback will be important at overtime. Right after the miss, Joe Paterno with a pat for his kicker. Kevin Kelly. Both of these coaches have won big games and lost big games, and they understand in the small window it's essential. In the big picture, there's character to be built and foundations to leave young men with. If you're not familiar with the college overtime, this is just a refresher. There's no sudden death, not like the NFL. Each team will get equal possessions beginning at the opponent's 25. So essentially, you start in field goal range. Repeat the process until the tie is broken. Once we get to a third overtime, you go for two. The coin toss is huge. You want to play defense first so you know what you need to do in the bottom of that overtime period.
Offense, defense, which end of the field? Okay, who's talking? Okay, what do you call it? You call heads? Okay, this is heads, this is tails. Okay, here we go. This is heads. You want to go defense first. So you get the ball, which end of the field you're going to hit. So you're going to be an offense. No. We must stay at one end of the field. Okay, so we're going to defense, and we're going to go on that end, right? Okay, so you want to do that? So you're not like, you're right here. Heads there, heads toss. And let them go on defense. Florida State will be on offense. This end of the field.
You better play down at this end because that's where your Florida State band and students are. So that's the way the Knowles should go. You stay down there for the whole overtime period, which comes your way next. Let me remind you that your late local news comes your way as soon as we are done on ABC. Very late here on the East Coast, but not every night that you get the best coaches from a win perspective in the history of college football going head-to-head. Late local news coming up. Jimmy Kimmel live as well. Florida State begins the ball to start overtime.
Leon Washington has been a factor these last few drives and getting him the football. Let's see if they try to do that.
Out of the gun, Drew Weatherford throws a screen to Lorenzo Booker, shoots up, or that Willie Reed, beg your pardon, to the 16-yard line. Reed, the receiver, lined up for the short screen. gain of 9. Sean Lee made the tackle. He's playing for Paul Posluszny.
Mike, they actually used Leon Washington this time as a decoy, and it really worked. You saw the linebackers moving off to the right, especially Sean Lee, the freshman. They came back to the screen to Willie Reed, and a nice seam there for Reed to pick up some yardage.
Having gone to the tall receiver, Greg Carr, Penn State only had 10 on the field. They run in Tim Shaw, the linebacker, as the fullback goes forward and has enough for the first down. They try to pull it out as he's down, but James Coleman hangs on, and they'll move the chains.
Drew Weatherford doesn't know what to do with himself on a 2nd and 2, second and 1. They haven't seen that all night.
Well, Coleman's carried 9 times for 6 yards. As a matter of fact, Coleman has 7 career touchdowns, all of them from a yard out. He defines your short yardage back.
Florida State 23 yards rushing. It's going to be very tough for them. They're going to have to continue to throw more than likely to get the ball into the end zone.
Freshman Richard Goodman from just north of here in Fort Lauderdale, the slot receiver. Leon Washington runs, trying to get past the defense. Denied. Scott Paxson, the defensive tackle, holding on as Dan Connor made the initial hit. There's the sophomore from Pennsylvania.
You have to really admire this Penn State defense, Mike. We're in overtime right now. They are still flying and coming up. And you know what? Dan Connor has taken the torch here from Paul Posluszny and become the go-to guy and the leader in this huddle for Penn State since Paul has been down with the injury.
Posluszny watching near the end zone, opposite of where the play is going. 2nd and 13. 4 receivers, 4-man rush. Weatherford, nothing open. Scrambling for it, picks up a block from Washington. A flag is down, back in the middle of the line. I believe Scott Paxson, the defensive tackle, was held. And it's a big penalty. Number 13 assessed against Florida State. Another 3, maybe 4 have been declined.
Holding on the offense. Number 68. 10-yard penalty from the previous line of scrimmage. Replay, 2nd down.
Jackie Claude has had his hands full with Jay Alford and Scott Paxson on the inside. And we have seen them able to get by Claude, and many times he has to pull that big bear claw out and try to hold on to anything, a jersey, and that time that's exactly what he did as Paxson got in there. And that was a coverage sack. Good coverage downfield, but give Weatherford credit to try to keep the play alive.
When you're the team that's on defense first in overtime, if for some reason you come up with an interception or a fumble and you score, the game ends. 2nd and 23 for the first down. Play action, Weatherford throwing the deep ball, the jump ball for Carr, who couldn't get there. What a game Anwar Phillips has played at the right cornerback spot. He had some safety help, but he has not been beaten on that sideline tonight.
Once Florida State gets down into that red zone area, Tom Bradley told me the number one thing we're ready to defend is the taller receivers in a jump ball situation. Anwar Phillips on one side, Alan Zamitis on the other have come into this game and handled, for the most part, these Florida State receivers very well when they've gone up into the air to try to bat the ball away, especially Anwar Phillips.
Cismesia made the game-time field goal from 48, missed an extra point, one of the reasons we're here in overtime. Weatherford has room to run to get closer to field goal range, but he lobs it. Phillips lost his coverage, and it was a poor pass out of bounds. Carr couldn't get there. For just a second, Phillips looks like he lost where he was. Now we've got a long field goal coming. We had the missed extra point after the Florida State 2nd touchdown in the 2nd quarter. And then with time running down, not the greatest exchange, center to holder, but a missed kick by the freshman Kelly.
I think Weatherford made a mistake there trying to go for the home run. Just scramble and pick up 8 yards, 5 yards. Give your kicker a much better chance.
Good from 48. Cismesia from 44, drifting to the right. He missed it. It was on line. It was one of those fades. It just kind of dies to the right as it loses distance. Now all Penn State needs is a field goal to win.
The kick had the distance, Mike, but I just think that as a young quarterback, he's going to get a chance to learn from this, and if he's put into this situation again, he'll try to pick up the yardage. The kick is pretty good. He just missed it. Missed it off to the right by about a foot.
Was Leslie watching at that far end zone? And Michael Robinson knows now all
Let's go win it. Let's go win it.
Lead the team to a field goal. This could be his final drive as a Penn State Nittany Lion, the undisputed leader and captain of this team. Run with Austin Scott. It's about a yard. Buster Davis brings him down shy of the 23. Now the freshman kicker, Kevin Kelly, as you saw Joe Paterno go right over to him. Redemption is a couple of snaps away when you're a kicker, especially with the collegiate overtime system.
Hey, if you're Florida State's defense, you want to try to keep them, obviously, from getting a first down, but continue to attack the line of scrimmage because you have a kicker coming off such a close field goal, 29-yard field goal. You wonder how much of that becomes psychological on that next kick.
2nd and 8. A Robinson designed quarterback draw. Barely got out of Bunkley's tackle, but a good play by Broderick limits the game. A reminder, your late local news on this ABC station coming up next, except for those of you on the West Coast. Mike Tirico, Kirk Herbstreit, Aaron Andrews. What great bowl championship series games we've seen. And within like about a 400-yard or mile, I should say, bucket from Morgantown, West Virginia to Columbus, Ohio to State College, Pennsylvania. We could see 3 of the BCS champs if Penn State can just kick a field goal. From here, it would be just about 40 yards. Robinson, quarterback draw again, gets 2, makes it a 38-yard field goal for the lefty from the middle of the field.
Remember that face we were showing a little earlier from Kelly about how disgruntled you could see as a freshman. He felt like he let Joe down. He let the whole team down. Second opportunity, see if he can capitalize on it. You knew he'd get it. Now he just has to hit the field goal.
And Florida State, you get timeouts in overtime that you don't carry over, so no reason not to burn them and make them think about it a little bit. You know, Kirk, this whole buildup of the 2 great coaches going head-to-head, one born in Birmingham in November of 1929, kept that Alabama twang, was a quarterback, a little All-American, and that guy born in Brooklyn, December of 1926, went to Brown, still holds the Brown record for interceptions, and followed Rip Engel to Pennsylvania to become an assistant coach on Rip's staff at Penn State in 1950. He's been at Penn State for 56 years. Bobby Bowden went to Florida State after some time at Sanford, and then Bobby went to West Virginia. Coached for 5 years, was hung in effigy when West Virginia was struggling. They weren't very happy with his record, but turned it around, came back to Florida State where he is an assistant, has had his amazing run as coach. 2 people who are on the Mount Rushmore of college football, and their teams have played with the heart, desire, and character that those 2 men have been an example of for almost a half-century in the game. Kelly from 38 for redemption, for the win. Missed it again, wide left. And the game goes on.
I think Bobby Bowden thought he made it.
Looked that way. Looked like the troopers were walking him over for the handshake.
Yeah. Another wide left for Kelly in Penn State. Holds good, kick good, kick looks good. He just missed it to the left.
Since halftime, we've had a safety and a field goal, a couple of missed field goals. That's not it, Bobby. Got more to do at 12:35 a.m. local. Set for our second overtime at the 2006 FedEx Orange Bowl. For 80 years, the Goodyear blimp, one of America's most recognizable images, still floating overhead. The blimp was fully gassed tonight. You're reminded, be prepared for any weather on Goodyear's new Forterra tires featuring triple tread technology. Kelly's missed 2 field goals, Cismesia 1 and an extra point. We get the rare scoreless overtime.
Hold is perfect. He actually hits it clean. He's missed it to the left. And now you wonder how much Joe's doing everything he can because he knows he's going to be another opportunity. But, Mike, how much now for a freshman kicker becomes head games, mindset. And I love kickers.
Oh, yeah, right. Tell me about it.
Documented throughout the year on Thursday night.
Right. You love kickers.
Oh, those kickers.
You flip the order now. Penn State will get the ball first, then Florida State will get the chance to respond. Kirk, obviously the 2003 Fiesta Bowl, Ohio State's national championship win over Miami. And I remember the Orange Bowl, Michigan and Alabama, which was a missed extra point, one in regulation, one in overtime. Those are the only 2 BCS games I can remember that have gone to overtime. So rare on this historic night with Bowden against Paterno. Robinson from the 25 looks down the middle. Jordan Norwood, what a hit by Buster Davis. And Norwood is shaken up. But gets back up quickly, gain of 5.5.
Mike, we've been playing over 4 hours and we're still swinging for the fences here with Buster Davis. What a big hit by Davis on Norwood coming across the middle.
And legal with his shoulder and his head up. Penn State going with a little pep in their step from the 19. Robinson tries the shot for Dion Butler, just over his outstretched arm. Butler tried to find it in the end zone. It would have been redemption. Earlier this week, he got lost at sea while riding on a jet ski. He went out racing jet skis with his teammates. They were going to race back into land. One problem, he ran out of gas. Another group of jet skiers came back, didn't get him. A boat finally rescued him. He was petrified.
Sure that wasn't just being a freshman?
No, it wasn't.
Initiation?
He was really scared. 3rd and 4 from here. The field goal's 37. Robinson throws to Ethan Kilmer, who caught it at the 10, at the 5. Airborne like Elway to the 1-yard line. In the stadium where John Elway won his 2nd and final Super Bowl, by the way.
Kilmer's going to be off to the left, Mike, and just drag across the middle of the field and come in to a vacated area. The linebackers blitz from the middle to the outside. Ernie Sims loses Kilmer coming across the middle. When Kilmer made that catch, he turned upfield and picked up huge yards for Penn State.
Personnel late. Matt Hans, the fullback. Austin Scott is the tailback. Bouncing it to the outside. Cannot get there. Pat Watkins, the safety, who's been everywhere, along with Buster Davis, holding on for dear life.
Austin Scott, I don't know why he's trying to reach for the goal line. He's about 3 yards away. He better keep that football in tight. It's a long way away from trying to reach for that end zone.
With Buster Davis flying in there, too. 77,773 on hand. Most of them are still here. Why would you leave? What a great night this has been. Robinson, option to Scott, to the end zone. Penn State touchdown. That was the 83rd snap of defense Florida State's guys had to deal with, compared to 62 for the Penn State defense. Scott, 1 touchdown all year, the first one and maybe the last one. Now the shaky confidence of the kicker, Kelly. Extra point, no problem. Florida State must score 7 to send us to triple overtime.
Like Florida State's defensive line is submarining, trying to get in there and try to take away anything up the middle. Galen Hall elects to take it to the outside and use the speed of either Michael Robinson keeping it on the option, or if they take him away, dishing it to the outside. He felt pressure by Bryant, picks it to the outside, picks up a block, and an easy walk-in for Austin Scott.
In what could have been Michael Robinson's final play on the field for Penn State, unless Florida State can score. He led a very nice drive, hit a big 3rd and 4. Now Bobby Bowden sends his freshman quarterback out there to go up against that defense without Paul Postluzny, Butkus Award winner who injured his knee and has now gone back to the locker room to watch OT. The freshman Weatherford. Can he keep this endless night going? Stepping up and throwing, complete for a first down. It is Willie Reed, the senior, trying to keep his career alive. Gain of 11, Dan Connor with the tackle.
Willie Reed represents the majority of Florida State's not only offense, but total yards when you include the special teams. And he has become the weapon. What I think has happened is Jeff Bowden has given up on the outside for now because the corners are doing such a good job that they're trying to move to the inside against the linebackers and safeties.
Greg Carr, big tall receiver, near side. Richard Goodman in the slot. Weatherford looking for Carr, goes up, brings it down, and takes it down to the 1-yard line. 6'5", he finally wins a jump ball tonight.
Just we talk about Jeff Bowden maybe giving up on the outside because of the play in number 1. Anwar Phillips goes back to him, and it takes an acrobatic catch that time by Carr, which he's been able to do a lot of times this year. It gives Florida State the ball now inside the 2-yard line. Nice touch by Weatherford, and a big catch that time by Greg Carr.
Somewhere in there is Ann Bowden. Sit down so the coach's wife can see. The big back Coleman dots the I. Weatherford keeping it's a long way away for a quarterback sneak.
Especially a slow, delayed quarterback sneak. You better take it and go if you're going to sneak with it.
Strange call there, unless they're thinking if we get a half yard, we got that big back Coleman.
You saying it's 4-down territory right here?
Yes, sir. It's late, but it's not that late. Coleman, 7 career touchdowns, as we mentioned, all from a yard out. It's his final game. He's a senior from Tallahassee. He's 36. P.J. Dean's in there as well. Coleman's blocking. Dean's going up the middle. He's at the goal line. We're an extra point from triple overtime. Touchdown, FSU. Gary Cismesia, who's missed an extra point. Dean, another senior, shaken up. That's his first touchdown of the year. Cismesia had not missed an extra point in his FSU career. Just to keep the game going, we go to triple overtime. Again, the rules change when you get to overtime number 3. You must go for 2 points after you score a touchdown. I know tomorrow night's going to be good.
This isn't bad.
It's just, well, you know what? It is tomorrow now. It's 1:45. And overtime number 3 is next. Part of the Orange Bowl trophy, the MVP trophy, real live oranges. They're no longer ripe. They've been out in the heat too long. We have gone 4 hours and 26 minutes from the opening kickoff. And as mentioned, now in the 3rd overtime, after a touchdown is scored, you must go for 2. Florida State will get the ball first on offense. We remind you that at some point your late local news, followed by Nightline and Jimmy Kimmel Live. And if we're not careful, Charlie, Robin, and Diane are going to be in Times Square for Good Morning America by the time we will hand it directly to them. We'll skip right through ABC News now.
If you think you're tired at home, imagine being on the field. The fans look like they're tired. These players just continue to play in this heat. And I'm was really impressed with the character of these two teams and the fact that neither team, you think one of them would just maybe cave in emotionally and just give in because they're just fatigued. But we have not seen that from either side.
Not when you guys are coached by Bowden and Paterno. You don't do that. From the 25, Weatherford has room to run. Drew Weatherford, the freshman, is twisted at the 21-yard line. And let's spend a second talking about the performance tonight of Weatherford, who is hobbled by that tackle. The fourth of 9 children. 3.3 grade point average in business, honored for his academics. Top freshman quarterback in the nation statistically this year. He hit the wall, lost 3 games, all in November. Came back and managed the game well against Virginia Tech. And against Penn State, that is a good night. When you have no running game, 26 rushes, 26 yards. Second and 6, 3-man front for the Nittany Lions. They cover with 8. Weatherford's throw is incomplete. They say it hit the ground. Carr is saying look at it, call a timeout to look at it. Again, every play is reviewed. They saw it on the big screen and had their thoughts. Now,
ball hits the ground, it's incomplete. But Greg Carr has been one of the biggest surprises this year for Florida State. Not only because of his size, Mike, but he's a basketball player who's just getting better as a football player. He had 9 touchdowns this year. He averaged 22 yards reception, and they're going to look at that, but
is under review.
These guys have been on top of it tonight with the replay. Every single time, not only the close calls, but how quickly they get the information, and they come right back down to the referee. All night long, they have been consistent. The best I think I've seen all year.
One more look at it. You will see he ends up controlling it at the end, but the ground is used and his chest smothered against right there. It's no catch. As soon as you get the chest, the ball, and the grass all making a sandwich, and I'm starving, by the way, right now.
Yeah.
It's no catch.
Breakfast.
Yeah, it's no catch. I believe.
After review,
how quick
there
these
is
guys
indisputable video evidence that the call on the field was correct. The receiver had the ball, but the ball was on the ground. Pass is incomplete. 3rd down.
21 penalties, multiple reviews. Most have been upheld. I think all have been upheld calls. Jerry McGinn, Bruce Palmer, Troy Gray, Hugh Campbell, Ben Vasconcelos, James Brennan, John McDade, Matt Fitzgerald are the officials. Each one deserves their name mentioned. They've been outstanding as we head to play 152 of the night. 3rd and 6.
Remember, a lot of attention paid to the receivers on the outside. Always a chance for Willie Reed on the slot.
Weatherford throws. The receiver, Carr, slipped as he was trying to break on the out. So we'll have a field goal, 38 yards for Cismesia. Chris Hall, the punter, is holding. He has been near perfect in his 2 years as the Florida State holder. Miles Hodish snaps. Cismesia fading to the right again. Off the upright and no good.
It's the second overtime, second of the 3 overtimes. Florida State has missed their first field goal, and Penn State has had a chance to come back on the back end and capitalize with a potential game-winning field goal.
All kickers have movement in their ball. If you play golf, you know you hook it or it fades. And Cismesia, as you've seen consistently, has a ball that kind of tails and fades at the end. And that one just couldn't be tucked inside the right upright. What are you laughing at? What are you laughing at?
I don't have a ball that fades or a slice.
And Michael Robinson takes the field again in that situation you got to dream about when you visualize. Give me a chance to end my career in the Orange Bowl in front of 77,000. Don't leave it up to my freshman kicker. Chance to end the game on your own right here. Austin Scott looking for room. He's going to lose a yard. Llewellyn banging at the ball as Cameron Wimbley holds him up.
The best the Penn State offense has been defended all year. You could go back and pick some games where at times they were contained and held. The Ohio State-Penn State game was a close game, but for an entire game, now we're going into the third overtime. And the reason, when you're back and look at this film, is the Florida State defensive line and Mickey Andrews' scheme of pressuring, not being intimidated, but at Penn State speed on the outside.
Terrell Golden is coming the game in the slot. Dion Butler clears space. Ping on the screen is brought down a couple of yards shy of the first down. Watkins and McGrew. Patton Sam made the tackle.
I just love how Galen Hall is willing to give Justin King, who is, let's face it, he is a corner or a receiver. But when they're going to throw a flare pass or a screen, sometimes they'll put in a tailback like they like to do with Derek Williams. But with the injuries, they've got to put Justin King, he's about 6 foot, 179 pounds, in there to make that play.
3rd and 2, play clock running down. They have brought the kicker on here, and now we'll take a timeout. So Paterno is likely in the mindset of, if there's a bad snap, as you would be at the end of the game, kick it on 3rd down instead of 4th down.
I don't know, Mike, I think it might have been a little bit more about confusion. Maybe they're yelling for certain personnel groupings. Maybe the field goal group went out on the field because with a timeout and 3rd down, I understand the logic, but why not try to move the ball with a struggling kicker, get the ball to the middle of the field, and then use your timeout?
Lefty kicker, he's missed 2 to the left. On the right hash, might be more comfortable here at this point.
I'm more concerned about making the kick than worrying about the snap.
I'm saying on the right hash, give a better angle because he is the lefty kicker.
But my thought would be, and again, I think it might have been confusion, but my thought would be, let's not kick on 3rd down and worry about a bad snap. Let's try to use 3rd down to get it in the middle of the field and then burn the timeout.
I agree with you. I was shocked. Yeah. I grabbed your arm.
What's going on here?
23. What's he doing?
Get the eye of the tiger, Kevin. Eye of the tiger. There you go. A couple fake smiles. You're all right. Shake it off.
The offense is coming back on the field.
I'm loose, guys. I'm ready.
They're going to move it to the middle of the field here. Let's see what they'll do. Tight formation. It's only 3rd and 2. Florida State.
Florida State. That is their final charge timeout.
Morning rush hour could be a problem on I-95 out here.
Yeah, that should be good.
Traffic letting out, people heading to work in the morning.
Or the airport.
For those of you just joining us as we are in triple overtime, let's go back through the highlights of OT. We had a scoreless first overtime as Cismesia's long field goal faded to the right. He missed it. Then Kelly had the opportunity to miss, and like the field goal he missed in the final 30 seconds wide left. Then Penn State, OT number 2. Austin Scott 2-yard run, a response from B.J. Dean from a yard out. Then this third overtime had Cismesia, another fading kick off the upright and a miss, and has us here to 3rd and 2 at the 17-yard line. As Cismesia and B.J. Dean's
personal protectors there
calling over players to block the kicker from view. 3rd down, Michael Robinson will just keep it, run it to the right, pick up the first down at the 13-yard line. How about the fullback leading the way there? Injured Florida State players. Hopefully Broderick Bunkley is cramping as other players have been tonight. And it's not anything more serious than that. While we have a second, let me remind you the executive producer of ABC Sports, Mike Pearl, our senior producer, Bob Toms, coordinating producer, ABC's College Football, Bob Goodrich. Phil Orleans produced today's game, directed by Mike Schwab. Bipon Vij, our technical director, associate producers, Jonathan Lebovich, Craven Martin, Steve Ackles, Jim Galliero, associate directors, Bill Amin, Chris Watt, production assistants, Ryan Billy and Aaron Snyder. Christy Hallis, our production manager, Bob Swider, technical manager, Greg Swartz, operations, Tim Wyckoff, Calvin Haywood, Kevin Bierman, with the studio operation in Pasadena, Ryan Fattini, computer stats, scorebug operator, Scott Higrick. Thank you to Mike Black, Josh Johnston, Marty Aronoff, and Chelsea Tubb here in the booth all year. Our privilege to be with that team. 1st and 10 from the 13. Hand off Austin Scott. About a yard to the 12. Scott has carried 26 times tonight, and another Florida State player is down as the kicker Kelly comes back on the field here. That is Andre Fluellen shaken up. His defense has been on the field 87 snaps. I was about to tell you that Scott, the running back, has carried 26 times tonight for the injured Tony Hunt. He carried 40 times all year. Okay, Fluellen is up.
Mike Kelly looks anxious. He looks like he's got the look and he's ready to try to put it through here. I thought Michael Robinson was probably telling Joe, let's get it down to the extra point. Let's get it way inside. It's only 2nd down. Let's keep moving it down.